happening in the background here.
Okay, we're live.
Whoa, I think something happened.
Yeah, meeting streaming live on
Oh,
YouTube.
wow. Wow, we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm gonna go up here.
All right.
Hey, welcome to the Infinite Filmmaker broadcast. Today's broadcast, we're gonna go over one of the 52 laws and principles. I teach spiritual principles for success. Hey, welcome to the Infinite Filmmaker. I guess we're on YouTube. Okay, YouTube.
Maybe you want to turn that part down, or
Yeah, I'll
can
turn the
you?
volume down. There we go.
Funny.
That was good. Okay, we're new at this. Steve and I have come together, and we're going to work with you guys on working your way through this whole situation with the coronavirus, and how to be able to sit in peace and peace and understanding, a peace and understanding that surpasses anything that we've ever experienced before. And I know that this whole coronavirus and stuff there's got to be some good coming out of this, and that's what we're here for, is to raise the consciousness level so that we can believe in the higher good for us, and then to be able to experience that higher good. And so, Steve,
Yes.
oh, there we go. Let me hit record. Okay, so Steve is an energy healing expert. He's a certified EFT practitioner, emotional freedom technology. It's technology used in order to help people to break through some of their fear, doubt, and worry. And that's what we're going to do today, is talk about this kind of stuff. Steve, you want to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about your experiences and how you got into this?
Yeah. So I've been doing EFT for about 14, 15 years, and I originally wanted to become a life coach when my whole life fell apart. So, and so when I started to become a life coach, I got into energy healing, and I got found out about EFT, emotional freedom techniques, and learned to use it along with the law of attraction in order to help myself and others to let go of stress. I mean, that's the main thing, right? Stress is like such a big thing for all of us.
Yeah,
But
especially now.
yeah, but not just stress, also things in my own past, that had to do with my ex-wife, and this heartache problem that I had, that I was carrying around with me for such a long time because I just couldn't get past it. So I the first time I ever did it for myself, I did it for my ex relationship, and I felt great. I felt like a
Yeah,
huge weight was lifted off my shoulders.
yeah.
But then I found out that it was really good for a lot of other things. So but not to get too far off the track today, we want to talk about change, right?
Yeah.
So
One of
it's,
the one of the 52 laws and principles, principle, what was it, 36?
yes.
Is about change. And so what I'll do is we're going to go to the principle. I have an ebook that I'm creating, and we'll look at the principle. I'll read it to you guys, and then we'll discuss it. And Steve is going to use his expertise in emotional freedom technology and an expert in the law of attraction. And I also teach using ancient wisdom, new thought teachings. And so I'll be using a lot of that. I teach using the metaphor of life being a movie created by an infinite filmmaker, and there's no limit to what it can create in your movie called life. So imagine that your life is a movie, and there's no limit to what you can be, do, and have in your movie called life. If that were the case, what would you create? What would you desire to create? And so that's why I developed these 52 laws and principles to be able to help me on a daily basis, actually a weekly basis, because there's 52 of them, to help me get through some of the obstacles that I have in life, and to raise my consciousness level to such a high vibration that I would be able to manifest the life I desire to be living. Because that's what it's all about. It's about not sitting in fear, doubt, and worry, but what is it that you want to get out of this, like the coronavirus? Where are you now, and where do you want to go? And the principle that I'm going to talk about today, principle 36, addresses that. And so let's go and look at the principle. I'm going to share my screen here. And the principle is,
It's
Okay.
not working.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So here's my book, 52 Laws and Principles of the Infinite Filmmaker. And we're going to get on to principle number 36. Okay, you can see that, Steve?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. What do you want your movie to go from here? By now, you understand that you get the same thing tomorrow as yesterday, unless you do something with your today. Ernest Holmes, in his landmark book, The Science of Mind, wrote, "Life keeps repeating itself with monotonous redundancy until we change it." Now is the time to think about, how do you want to change your life's movie from what it is today to what you want it to be tomorrow?
Mhm.
And so over here, I have an explanation of the principle. Principle 36 points out that the decisions that you make today are creating your experiences in the future. If you want to create a different future, then you must pay attention to what you are focusing your attention on today. Today is just a reflection of what you want to be thinking about and acting upon in the past.
Yeah.
Anyways, so getting back to that, by now you understand that you get the same thing tomorrow as yesterday. And so life does keep repeating itself with monotonous redundancy. And so if we're in fear yesterday over this coronavirus, and we stay with that same thought pattern, then tomorrow we're just going to get more of it. It's the law of attraction, right, Steve?
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking like right now, everyone's sort of forced into change, right? I mean,
Mm,
because what you're talking about is change that's routine, that we want to improve. We want to change things because they're not going very well, and we want to change our lives. Well, right now, so we're really talking about two different things, kind of almost, because one of them is changing the monotony of life and repeating, like the Groundhog Day experience,
yeah,
where you sort of repeat the same day over and over and over again until you do
sure.
something different. What did he do? He raised his vibration in that. I love that movie. That was, yeah.
Yeah,
So we're really kind of talking about almost two different things in a way. But right now, where everyone's mind is on the change that we're being forced into, and looking at it from the perspective of, like, how do we get through this? What do we do? How do we calm our fears down about change? Because whether we want to or not, major things are going to be changing because of this new virus. And so,
the whole new world we live in now. We got
yeah,
to adapt
yeah,
to it.
yeah, it really is. And so it's all about, like, looking at it from a different perspective, right?
Yeah,
It's all about looking at contrast, or the bad things that happen to us in our lives, for what it really is, right? And so whenever we have contrast, it actually helps us to do two things. We're really clear about what we don't want, right?
yeah.
So then we're really clear about what we do want.
Well,
And I don't know if we want to go this deep into it, but these rockets of desire shoot out into the ends of the universe for the exact opposite of what we experienced.
yeah,
And that's just part of life.
yeah.
So all we really have to do is align ourselves with our creation that's already been created.
Yeah, how do we want to see our life
Yeah,
tomorrow?
yeah. And I like what your principle says too, about how what we're living today is kind of like the result of our thoughts in the past, right?
Yeah,
So our creation is that what we are seeing right now, our reality right now, is a result of the things that we have thought about in the past.
yeah.
I don't remember exactly where it was that it said that, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, and you were talking about the mind, your mind. In Ancient Wisdom, New Thought teachings, which I use for my teachings, they believe that mind is form is mind in action, and that whatever you're thinking about is what you're going to create. And so if you're thinking about all of those things from yesterday, then you're
Yeah,
going to get more of the same tomorrow. So you gotta
yeah,
switch the way you think about things. And I know
yeah.
that Abraham, the law of attraction, talks about becoming general, being general, going
Hmm.
general. What is
Yeah.
that all about? Explain that.
Um, okay, so
Excuse me for a second.
sure.
Having my nails and my hair done is not essential.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I'm in my office today, so there's a lot of activity going on.
No problem. Okay, going general is about there's going general and there's going specific, right?
But how does that relate to the
So,
coronavirus and what people are going through today? Like
right.
the
Yeah.
specifics,
Okay.
what are the specifics that are going on now? It's like, I don't have any work. I don't have any money. I don't know
Yeah.
what the future's going to hold for me. So how do you go
Those,
general with that?
well, you have to figure out where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
And so you can go generally negative, which is, and identify with where you are right now, which
Okay.
is actually better than getting into the specifics. Because when you go specifically negative, that's when you really stress yourself out the most. And that's where you're talking about all this fear, the coronavirus itself, all the statistics, all this information that's coming out from the news media, all that freaking scary stuff. That's very specific.
Yeah.
But if we go general negative and we go, you know, well, let's see, with that, well, it's really not that negative, but we have gotten through things like this before in the past, and that's actually a little bit too positive. So I can't think of a generally negative thought right now, but there's one there, right? And maybe it's something like things like this have happened in the past,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we've gotten through it, and mankind has come through with
Every,
fine.
everything works in
Yeah.
cycles. We're just on the up cycle and now it's got to go down to the lower cycle. Yeah.
Right. So you could keep saying things that are general like that and go
Yeah.
from negative to more and more general positive, and
Yeah.
then you can get into specifics about quantum physics, for example. That's like on the opposite side of this whole thing, that talks about how powerful our thoughts are, how we can change reality with we can change electrons based upon are observing it or not. Okay, well,
Yeah.
if we have that kind of power, is a virus really that the big of a deal? And I'm not saying that it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there are well, that's the way to go, right? As far as the process of going from general negative all the way to specifically positive.
Yeah. Cool. In the teachings that I do in Ancient Wisdom, New Thought teachings, um, they say that that your mind is an individualized aspect of a universal mind. So when you think a thought, universal mind, infinite mind, is taking that thought and creating out of that.
Hmm.
So you have to be really careful about what you're thinking about. It's so hard when you're in the midst of it. It's so hard
Yeah.
when you can't go to the store and buy groceries. And so
Yeah.
how do you transcend that? What I've been doing, my wife and I mean, we've had a lot of success with these spiritual principles that I teach, and she uses that. She's very big into the law of attraction.
Yeah.
So what we've been doing is just doing prayer treatments on just recognizing that we're one with that infinite power and presence, and there's nothing being withheld from us. The only thing that's holding things out back from us is our own thoughts about it, our own consciousness, our own belief system. It
Hmm.
was the Christ that said, it is measured according to your beliefs. If you say to this mountain, fall into the ocean, and believe it, it'll fall into the ocean. There's nothing that you can't be, do, and have.
Yeah.
According to faith. With faith, you can move mountains.
Right. Yeah.
So we just sit in the faith that everything's going to work out. We have a 3-bedroom place that we live in, and she's out of work, I'm out of work, right? And so we said, well, let's rent out one of the bedrooms. So we posted an ad, and this guy from Boston or New York actually wants to come out here for 3 months, and we're like, that's perfect. So he's going to
Right.
pay a portion of the rent. And a really nice guy. I mean, we Skyped with him the other day, and he's just really so nice. We're like excited to have him come and stay with us.
Wow, that's great.
He's
Yeah.
coming out here, and he's an artist, and my wife is an artist, and he's coming out here to work as with his mentor, who's this famous artist out here in LA.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's this connection going on with like, wow, that's pretty interesting that she's an artist. She's got her own studio. He wants to come out here and work with this mentor. And he also wants to get a studio around him. And who knows, maybe he can use Jen's studio. So
Hmm.
it's all like, what is the possibility of that happening? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? An
Yeah.
artist that's studying with one of this famous artists, and Jen could meet this famous artist, and who knows what will go from there. But when you sit and the awareness that you're connected to infinite intelligence, that it's always bringing you good. It's always, your good is always knocking on your door, and you just have to open it. And you open it through what I call affirmative prayer. And that's just recognizing that there's an unlimited power and presence. It's not withholding anything from you, and you're one with it. And whatever it's creating in and as and through you, isn't it's creating it through your consciousness. That what I call the infinite filmmaker creating the movie of your life is your consciousness. That's how it creates through you. And so
Yeah.
we have to shift our consciousness.
Right.
That's the bottom line with this whole virus thing. If we focus on the virus, and if we're feared out and worried that we're going to catch the virus and die, you know what? You're probably going to catch the virus and die. But if you move forward with just a faith, take precautions. Don't go to the stores, stay in lockdown, and all of that stuff. But just know that viruses and disease have no power. There's only one power, and that's the power of infinite intelligence. And a virus, disease, iniquity, any of this stuff cannot exist in pure infinite mind, love, intelligence. Can't exist. And therefore it can't exist in our lives unless we bring it in through our fear and our worry and our doubt about it.
Yeah.
The lesson in metaphysics.
I'm sorry.
That's the lesson, my lesson in metaphysics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
think that's what
it's
all
really,
about.
yeah, it's really our beliefs that make such a big difference, you know. At that level, we get whatever we believe, you know. If you'll see it, you'll believe it, you'll see it when you believe it, as Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say.
Yeah,
You know.
instead of show me it and I'll believe it. You know, a lot of skeptics, show me and I'll believe. But it's
Right.
faith that it's through the everything that comes through the unmanifest into the manifest. It's there, it exists, but you just have to believe it in order for it to pop into your experience.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and it's always been my thought, like whenever I started to learn all this stuff, I thought, well, you know, if that's really the way that it works, then why not believe the best stuff, everything that's a possibility out there? Why not live in a parallel universe where you think along this line of like, okay, well, you know, these things that sound really good, maybe I should just believe in that. Maybe that will, if I have to choose,
Yeah.
you know, why not choose the good beliefs if there's a question about what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And so it does again come down to perspective, you know. Where are you going to start? Are you going to start off from a feeling of lack or a feeling of abundance? Are you going to start
Right.
off from fear or a feeling of peace and contentment and joy? You
Yeah.
know, so it's really a choice that we all have. The only thing I wanted to ask you a question, maybe I can ask you this question, because we talk about the power of our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And but some people like to joke and kid around. I just want to get your thought on this. Like if you're joking about your health being really bad and stuff, that's not good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
I wouldn't
because
think so.
you're actually kind of creating that too. Even though you're kind of joking about it,
Yeah.
you gotta be kind of careful with what you say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really more about how you feel that counts, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think about
Thoughts
that?
lead to feelings, lead to emotions, lead to
Yeah.
results.
Hmm.
And so this is what T. Harv Eker taught me, one of my mentors. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to emotions, which lead to results. So you have thoughts, you get a feeling about it, then you get
Feeling
an
about it, yeah.
emotion, and the emotion moves you into taking action,
Right.
creating a result.
So it may be innocent to say something like that because it doesn't create the feeling within you, but you're taking the risk, right? It's probably just better just to be careful, just to be on the side of. But at the same time, you want to be jovial and not
Sure.
take life too seriously at the same time. So it's
No, there's a lot of jokes going on the internet with this virus. You
yeah,
know, my wife says that some women are posting that, does that mean that I you know, my nails are going to grow long and I'm not going to be able to, you know, have them painted up or
pedicured.
polished, pedicure. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many little things like that people are starting to realize, you know,
Yeah.
that they're not going to have.
Yeah. I saw a great one the other day, a police officer standing at a car ready to give the guy a ticket. And the guy is holding up a sign saying, I have the coronavirus.
Yeah.
The car
Yeah,
won't give him a ticket.
I saw the same one.
Yeah.
No, it's going to change so much. I mean, the economic
Yeah.
situation is going to have to change. The way we interact with one another is going to have to
It's
change.
changing now, yeah.
Yeah, and then work is going to have to change. We're going to have to go to a much more local type of a life rather than depending upon these global chains that have been supplying us with goods and services, right?
Yeah. You know, it's really
It's-
weird. We've been going, you know, into this whole mode for the last 15 years or so of being separated. People don't talk on the phone, they text each other, and, you know, they don't communicate in that way. Everything's done on a computer and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
This has taken it to a whole new level of that. Well, we were standing out. I heard my neighbors talking out front with my wife, and I went out there, and they were all standing in a circle, not not keeping like a distance from each other. And it was just like, wow, is this the way we're communicating? And I went for a
Yeah.
walk this morning, and I was talking to you when I was walking, and this woman was coming the other direction from me. She crossed the street to
Yeah.
pass me. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's a whole new world that we live in, and this fear,
Right.
it's like it's consuming us to the point where I believe that 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 it's going to take an outpouring of faith and consciousness and belief to be able to break through this. And I think a lot of people are getting more and more connected to infinite intelligence, God, Buddha mind, Christ conscious, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
People are looking more and more to a spiritual solution to the problem, and that's what it's going to take, because I think we're so far adrift in who we are as spiritual beings living a physical experience. And by far, the greater part of us is spiritual, but yet the carnal mind, the physical, has taken control of everything of our thoughts. And so through meditation and prayer, to be able to get centered, you know, I wake up at 3 in the morning and do my meditations, and I feel really good once I do my meditation, because if I go to bed with any fear, doubt, and worry, I wake up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning worrying about it. So then I'll go into meditation. I'll go back and I'll sleep like a baby
Mhm.
until what time I call you this morning? 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, about that. Like 10,
Right.
yeah.
I slept really well
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you settle the mind, and that's what you know. They say that prayer is when you're speaking to God, but meditation is when God is speaking to you. That you're
Mhm.
just still and you listen to that still small voice within
Right.
to guide you and to give you comfort, to give you assurance that everything's going to be okay. Don't worry,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
handle this. I am the universe and I am powerful. I'm the most powerful thing out there. I am it. You want it? You want
Yeah.
it? You want to talk about power to heal? And you know, you talked about this with that video that we both saw about the practitioners. Were
Mhm. Yeah. There's a saying that goes that who is connected to source is more powerful than millions who are not.
exactly.
That's the Abraham
You
statement.
know, and sometimes I feel like I'm a nut talking about this stuff, but that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Is that through my 52 laws and principles, by living them for years now, I've been able to connect to whatever you call it, source energy, infinite intelligence. I call it infinite intelligence. I've been able to connect with that to such a point where I can see it moving things in my life, like people, places, and things. I fall into place. You know, I'll pull up and I'll go to look for a parking space, and I start to drive around the block, going, "Oh, I got to find a parking place." But then I stop myself and I go, you know, I do a little silent prayer treatment inside, and I just wait in front of the restaurant. And boom, somebody, I didn't even see them get in the car, pulls out, and I'll pull in. And it's like, you know, you can just see this good that's always coming forth in my life. There's always good knocking on my door. And when you're in that vibration, what Abraham calls the vortex, when you get in the vortex, these things happen. Well, through the principles, you're able to you connect with God. Like, this is one of the principles. You know, don't keep repeating what you did in the chat. Today's a new day. You can change it. Change your thoughts, change your feelings, change your emotions. That's what we're doing on here today. We're trying to help people so that they can change their today so they have a better tomorrow, and that they don't
Yeah.
go into tomorrow with fear, doubt, and worry and create more of it.
Yeah.
And I think that the healing on the global position is going to be when everybody comes together with a spiritual enlightenment, a spiritual, you know, and and that's what they the second coming of the Christ, or the whatever. It's the kingdom of heaven is within, and when
Mhm.
we can release that, then all of a sudden the world just gets changed, on a massive level. Esther Hicks does this.
Yeah. I mean, it
Global level.
it's going to be amazing to see what happens, because I mean, in order to really get through this, so many things are going to have to change, and that's what we're talking about today, right? Is change, and so many of these things so many things that have been exposed as being a problem. We can't keep on going on like this, and so there's a lot of there's just so much that's being affected right now, and we may have to do this for a little while, because I was listening to that guy Greg Braden, okay, who's a scientist, and
Yeah.
he's the guy who we both know, and he's written a few books, and he's into the law of attraction. He bridges the scientific world with the metaphysical world, which is really, really cool. And he was saying, we don't know how long this is going to last, really, because we've never had this before, but this exact one before, this exact type of a virus. But if based upon how the lifespan of the other ones, it's going to get the worst in about 45 days, which is like mid-May. So it's going to continue to get worse, and then it's going to get better after that. So
Yeah.
that's a long time. People are only telling us 2 weeks. Now, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm just saying that, be prepared to be able to go through this for longer than what we thought.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
telling
Exactly.
they told my brother like 1 month from work. Well, I'm thinking, if he stays out of work for 1 month, he's going to go back right when it's at its peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's like, Steve, I've been out of work, okay, and I don't have a whole lot of money to fall back on that I saved. Being
yeah.
a baby boomer, I never really, I always spend, and the thing is that yeah, I'm not worried about it. I don't know why.
I'm not either,
I am
because
not worried about anything. I know that I'm working with an unlimited power and presence that's always giving
yeah.
me my good, and that everything's going to work out. My
Yeah.
wife, the other day, she was supposed to go to this benefit for the school to raise money to
Uh-huh.
pay for an art teacher in the school or something. And they had to cancel it. So they did it online. It was like an auction where you buy stuff and all that. Well, they had a drawing for $50. She said, I feel bad that they, couldn't do this event, and they're probably not going to make a lot of money. I'll just donate $50 to the drawing. She ended up winning $500.
Right.
So it's like she sits in such faith that she was able to manifest the $500. She was able to manifest this roommate that we have now that's coming in, that's going to help with the rent for 3 months, which that's great. He only needs it for 3 months. We only want somebody to stay here for 3 months, and it's working out perfectly. I
That's
mean,
great.
that's what we
Yeah.
said. We said, this could be over in about 3 months, so we'd like to get somebody for 3 months. And so then what is the chances of this guy following up on a posting saying, I only need a place for 3 months, and I'm an artist, and Jen's an artist? It's like, you don't have to worry about anything, that it's
No.
all taken
Yeah.
care of. And if you worry, you're going to create more of that. You're going to create the opposite of what you want. So we
Right.
vision for what we want. There's a process called visioning.
Yeah.
It's not visualization where you put a vision board down, you draw stuff.
Uh-huh.
Visioning is, you just, through meditation, you just become still and let it evolve through you. Whatever it is that you want to create in your life, just allow it to come through you, so that you envision what you want, you feel good about you want, you start focusing on what you want, and then you take action towards what you want. And you just allow, through meditation, you allow infinite intelligence to communicate with you. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden things will show up, and you can choose, like we could choose not to have responded to this guy's email because that wanted the place, but we chose to go there. And then he ended up being an artist, and only
Mhm.
3 months and all of that. But it's sort of like, yeah.
The
So there's no
perfect guy
worries
showed
here.
up. Yeah.
Everybody out there, if you're out there, don't worry over anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get into prayer and meditation. Start meditating. Do your yoga. Do your spiritual practices.
Right. Right.
Stop looking at the news and all
Yeah.
of that. Become aware of what's going on, but then shut the news off. Don't listen
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the false news on the internet and all of that kind of stuff. Just focus on what you want. Think about what you want. Get excited about what you want.
Right.
Right? Because what does Abraham say about excitement? When you get excited about something,
It's more powerful. Yeah. It's almost like has a blast of energy that's just more powerful. So the more excited that you are about something, the quicker it's going to manifest, right? It's going to come back into your life. So, but you have to stay in a place of non-resistance after that point too. You can't get all excited and then get all depressed about something else the next minute, because that's blocking it again. So
yeah,
you got to
exactly.
keep that channel open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. To add to that, here's an example of it. Okay. I got my little ebook that I'm creating. Okay. And,
Uh-huh.
can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was taking this 30-day manifestation thing and, he said, I told him I didn't have the book written yet. It's not done. He said, just go out and have the cover made and that'll excite you. And that's what I did. So I went out and had my cover made, designed, and then I started writing the book and I've got I'm all done. 52 principles. I just got to change the graphics in there and put more images in. But it's like the excitement, Reverend Michael taught me that the pain pushes until the vision pulls.
Hmm.
So you have to have a vision. You have to have that vision to pull you towards the thing that you want to create. And you do that by visioning, by visualizing, by, you know, visioning it and then taking action towards it and trusting in the universe that whatever all my needs are met. I keep saying
Yeah.
it to myself. One of my prayers is all my needs are met.
Right.
All my
I
needs.
don't know if you heard of this guy named Neville Goddard. Have you heard of Goddard? Like
No.
Neville? Okay. Yeah, Neville Goddard. So he passed away in 1972, but he was like this big law of attraction person back in the day, like before everybody else, right? And so his whole concept is to totally act as if what you want has already manifested,
Yeah.
right? So and then Dr. Joe Vitale came up with the term Nevilize it, right? So
Oh,
it's this
okay.
whole concept or idea of like feeling like what you already have or like what you want is already here, that you already have what you want,
Yeah.
so much so that you don't even need it. Now that's another thing that Abraham talks about is like, so it is to feel like what you want is here so clearly
Yeah.
that you almost don't even need it, right? It could be like for a relationship, it could be, for money, it could be for career, it could be for job or whatever. And that's the way that you attract. It is kind of like pulling in that sense too, right? Because
Yeah.
you're putting your emotions on display for the whole universe in the sense of what you want, and it's got to fulfill it. It's got to it
Got to.
has to bring it's like a vacuum that you're creating
It's
for
law.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reverend Michael says the same thing. He says that act as if you have so you may receive.
Yeah.
And the idea of that is it's just like, okay, so what do you want to create? What do you want to manifest? Well, just act. What would you do if you already had that thing?
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
then that builds your faith. So then what you do is you just go, okay, like, I told you the story about my car. I wanted a new car, a Hyundai hybrid, black. And then we got to the dealership after doing a prayer treatment and the black Hyundai hybrid, was there at the lot. So we just
Right.
acted as if we were going there to get a black Hyundai hybrid. And Jennifer, even that day I said, we'll just keep looking till we find a black Hyundai hybrid. She goes, I ain't spending my weekends looking for a car. We're getting a car
Right.
today. And it was
Yeah.
like, we acted as if we were going there to get a black Hyundai hybrid, and boom, the black Hyundai hybrid was there. And I believe that infinite intelligence, which all-knowing, omniscient, knows everything, already knows our needs before we ask for them, and it puts that stuff in place for us to have faith and take action towards it.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what Jerry Hicks is Esther Hicks' husband from a while ago, and he passed away, but he used to say that what you want to do for like your goals like that is you want to stretch them, not make it so far that you can't make it. Pretend it's like a basketball hoop that you put out there somewhere, and it pushes you to make the shot, and you feel good, would feel really good if you shot it, but not so far out there, like, I want to make $1 million by next month.
Right.
That's not going to happen. But you can imagine money flowing into your life that's unexpected, fairly soon, and that's a much better vibration to put out there because there's no resistance that
Yeah.
goes along with it, right? So
And also you got to watch the way you say it. I want to make $1 million, right? But if you go into it feeling like, I know that I am going to make $1 million, that I am looking forward to that $1 million. What am I going to do with that $1 million? Oh, I think I'll buy this. I think I'll get this. I think I'll contribute to this charity. And you start visioning what you would do with, if you act as if you have that,
yeah,
then the $1 million will come, and it'll come
right,
according to your belief in how fast it will come. You could win the lottery just like
yeah,
that. If you believe,
that's
but whatever you believe, it will happen. You just got to have the faith, you know?
right, yeah. And
And
I think that's where so many of us struggle because we've been conditioned the other way, right? We've been our
yeah,
whole lives we've been pretty much programmed to believe that money is, well, a lot of things, but money, the root of evil is money or whatever, and so we've got these negative thoughts about money, and that it's also it doesn't grow on trees, it's hard to manifest, you have to work really hard for your money, and we have all of these negative beliefs that we have that if they're not cleared out, that
yeah,
we keep doing the same thing,
yeah. And that reminds me. So Steve is an energy light healing expert, certified EFT practitioner, and like EFT allows you to clear out these beliefs that you grew up with. Money doesn't grow on trees. Can't afford it. You have to work hard to make your money, and all of these things. And
yeah.
you can break through those with emotional freedom technology. Before we go, you want to just explain just a little bit about what EFT is, and if you guys are interested in working with Steve, his email address is coachsteve4u@gmail.com. And he's open to working with you guys on EFT. But explain what it is, give him a little idea, and then we'll kind of conclude this, no?
Okay, very good. So basically all it is a way to clear out these negative feelings that we have, right? And so many of the negative feelings that we have about they started in our past. So it's kind of a task of going into your past that regarding things that have either stressed you out or traumatized you, and clearing that all out. So it's a clearing process. It's almost like clearing out your whole energy system of all this negativity that and negative programming that has happened in the past. So a belief that you have is a result of circumstances and events and things that have happened in the past. So we just go in there and we clear that out, and then with the law of attraction, that is what we turn to next, and then we replace that old program, that old negative program, with a positive one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful. This isn't like therapy where you have to go for 10 years in order to break through some of the
It's usually very fast. Yeah.
very fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. I use it all the time now that Steve's turned me on to it, and it is very, very powerful. As a matter of fact, I combine it with my prayer treatment. So when I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll read a little of Joel Goldsmith. Hold on a sec.
Sure.
I'll read a little of Joel Goldsmith, and then I'll do my meditation, and then I'll do tapping, and I'll tap away any fear, doubt, and worry that I have about the coronavirus and how it's affecting me.
That's very good. And usually, like before, you're talking about like general versus specific. When you're using EFT, it's really good to go specific. So the more specific that you can go into like what it is that you're fearing and the event and the circumstance that happened, the better. When you tap in general, it doesn't work as well. So if you tap, say, this overall fear, that's not as good as getting like down to like the brass tacks of what you're really afraid of.
Yeah, and it looks kind of silly, you're tapping your head, you're tapping your foot. These are pressure. What are these pressure points or something?
Energy meridian endpoints, they call them. Now that's been around for thousands of years, and it was created by the Chinese, like 3,000 years ago. And people use acupuncture and acupressure. It's the same points. It's the
Yeah.
same points as those, but you have like probably a couple hundred of them on your body at least. But there's about only 9 of them that you mainly use,
Yeah.
during the EFT process.
Very powerful. So anyways, if you want to get in touch with Steve again, he's at Coach Steve, STEVE, number 4U at gmail.com. Coach Steve 4U at gmail.com. So anyways, and also you can get in touch with me at The Infinite Filmmaker /Genie, GENIE. Like I say, I use a metaphor of life being a movie created by an infinite filmmaker, and the infinite filmmaker doesn't withhold anything from you. I call the infinite filmmaker the genie in the bottle, and that you can release the genie by practicing spiritual principles, and that's what I teach, spiritual principles plus success. Anyways, any other conclusions that you want to come to, Steve, or talk about?
Well, I just to say to everyone listening that everything's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Change is normal. I'm hearing a lot of good things that are coming through, because you can look at the good side of everything or the bad side, right? So there's going to be a lot of really good things coming out of the whole coronavirus thing. So just hang tight and do your best. Stick close with your family, and everything is going to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, we'll see you guys. We'll try to get on here tomorrow, right, Steve?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
We'll try to do these really short and to the point.
Yeah.
Today was kind of a long process, but yeah, I think that we're good. And so just
Very good.
checking out Rich Smith with the Infinite Filmmaker Teachings. There you go. Talk to you guys later. See you later, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Alrighty.